Right. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am Margarita Rojas, head of EMEA marketing at Asana. And for those of you who are not familiar with Asana, we are a completely collaborative work management platform that help marketers around the globe to improve efficiency and productivity. And one of those teams is Just Eat. And I'm super excited to have Kerry Matto, the Global Lead Creative Studio Manager at Just Eat. Welcome, Kerry.
Hi.
Hi. And our discussion today is going to focus on how Kerry and the team have come together to tackle a merger, onboard a growing workforce, and all of this while delivering thousands of creative briefs. So before we jump into our conversation, I want to pass it over to Kerry so you can introduce yourself. Welcome, Kerry.
Hi. So I'm Kerry. Hi, everyone. The Global Lead Creative Studio Manager at Just Eat. Just Eat Takeaway as we're now called. I've been there 4 years and obviously seen a lot of changes and gone through a lot of growth. I currently manage a team of producers, operations, and we look after 3 creative studios across London, Amsterdam, and Poland. And that consists of copywriters, designers, art directors, retouching, and developers as well.
Great, thanks, Kerry. And we have a lot to cover today, so let's jump straight in. So let's start by setting the scene. Just Eat has gone through a huge period of growth.
Yeah.
Could you put that into perspective for us and tell us a little bit more how the organization has changed and what that have meant for your team?
Yeah, sure. So in 2020, Just Eat merged with a Dutch company called takeaway.com, hence why we're now Just Eat Takeaway. And of course, we all know what was happening in 2020 if you want to cast your mind back to lockdown and COVID. So going through a merger remotely during COVID was super interesting. As a result of the merger, our studio essentially doubled overnight from 25 to 50 people. So it was really exciting, but quite nerve-wracking to have to onboard everyone remotely into our ways of working and our process. So that's one element of our growth story, the expansion of our team. So when I first joined in 2019, I think that year as a studio at Just Eat, we did 500 briefs. Last year, as part of Just Eat Takeaway, we did 3,500. So the output is super, super high. And also our production briefs went up 400%. So that includes shooting, video and film, retouch, and motion as well. So, we are part of a really competitive market in food takeaway. I think since COVID, now more than ever, I'm sure everyone's seen all the grocery apps and food takeaway apps pop up. So now we need to really build a brand to really engage with our customers.
Wow, yeah, that sounds like an incredible expansion. And I imagine with the additional work, it also can be challenging to keep everyone aligned. So can you talk a little bit more about those challenges of the alignment and how you went about to solve those with your team?
Sure. So as I mentioned, a big challenge was uniting all of the teams remotely. I don't think we actually met for about 18 months, which was a long time. So we needed a way to bring everyone together quickly, to align on creative briefs, execute the work together without meeting in person. And obviously, that's where Asana came in really, really handy. So in the legacy Just Eat side of the business, we'd already been using Asana across marketing and the studio to roll out all of our briefs and work. The Amsterdam side, they were kind of freestyling it. They didn't have a project management tool or system or process in place. So obviously in Asana, you can keep everything together. You've got all your timelines, your brief, all the comments, all the correspondence for a brief, who's responsible. I could go on. We've got everything in there. So it's a real good hub. So that hub acted really well in aligning our 2 teams. We ran loads of sessions remotely to show them how it worked and the benefits of why it's such a crucial tool in running a studio. And everyone instantly saw why it was so good. So I think that was really successful.
That's great. And even with the team being aligned, you mentioned your team went from 500 to 3,500 briefs. And that's an incredible number to tackle.
Yeah.
What kind of challenges does this volume of work create?
Well, the challenge is to always ensure that the team have the best briefs to do their best work. So when you've got that volume coming in, it means you have to be super, super organized. You know, there's so many moving parts, especially when you're working globally on briefs that are going to different languages and different nuances and different cultures and different markets. So the biggest challenges do occur when people lack clarity on a brief, or what they really need, who's owning what their key priorities are, deadlines, etc. So if you're having to go and search through a never-ending email chain or a Slack message, it's just not clear. So the biggest challenge is briefing, I would say, and we do run a lot of sessions every quarter, myself and the creative project managers and producers, on best practice and ways of working with all the marketing teams. So if you've got a solid briefing process in place, then you can have clear, concise information, and it allows the creatives to feel supported and create their best work.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think in the audience, you probably are familiar with the pains of like a bad brief. So related to that, what are like some of the best practices you have implemented to standardize and accelerate the briefing process across your team?
So this is where Asana has been absolutely crucial and essential for running our team to its maximum efficiency. So first of all, within Asana, we created a standardized creative briefing form, which lives on our intranet. So anyone in the business can access that, and once they've submitted a form, it will come into our team. So within that form as well, we've actually change the form, so depending on what you're briefing in, the questions change, so whether it's BAU or campaign or small amends. So with all those questions, we ensure we're getting the right information. So that's where the automations and rules come in really, really handy for us as well. So with Asana, we don't need to go and take these forms and transfer the data from a Google form or a Word doc into Asana. It's really, really helpful. And then we have it set up as well. So we've set up templates in Asana. So when we can convert the form and the request into a template, then assign it to the right creative, the right designer, copywriter, art director, or whoever. It's night and day when you try and compare managing a studio with and without software. The thought of managing 3,500 briefs without a tool gives me such anxiety. So I do really truly believe, every studio should have some form of process and a tool in place to really allow yourselves to be efficient.
Yeah, and at Asana, unsurprisingly, we run Asana in Asana, so we're also big fans and power users of the forms across all the different departments. So I'm glad to hear that. This has been super helpful for the team too. So cool. So can you tell us more about some of the biggest campaigns or projects that Just Eat has launched with the assistance of Asana?
Yeah, of course. There's been many, but one that really springs to mind is when we merged with takeaway.com, we had to turn everything, and when I say everything, I mean literally everything, emails, campaign, B2C, B2B side of the business, orange. So everything had to go from the legacy Just Eat Red to orange. And in Asana, we were able to manage that with different sections and timings, allocations of who's working on what really efficiently, because there was thousands of assets that came out that needed to be orange. So without a tool like Asana, we wouldn't have been able to manage that at such pace, because we were working to change stuff very rapidly because it needed to go orange ASAP. As well, managing the big campaigns like Snoop Dogg and Katy Perry, Love Island, they've all come through Asana as well. So that's been a really good tool there.
Cool, amazing. I think everyone is pretty familiar with those campaigns. So we're coming towards the end of the session, and before we wrap up, for all the leaders in the audience, can you summarize the impact that you have seen by implementing Asana on your team?
Yeah, of course. It's more than streamlined our workflows and made us so much more efficient overall. We've drastically cut down on the emails and the back and forth on new briefs, so creatives can really focus on just creating that really high standard of assets. You're not having to spend hours on email or Slack or hunting things down because it's already there for you. You have our timelines, we can reprioritize, I can see people's capacity, how busy they are, if they've got capacity to take on more work, or if we need to move stuff around, or if things are really overdue, why is a project so late? So it's really added so much value there. And I would say to other leaders, be confident in your decision, because people don't always like change, but when it's something like this that you can really demonstrate is highly beneficial, people will buy in, and then the more they use something like this, the more they'll see how much easier it does make their life. So, in short, be confident, go for it, and you won't regret it.
Yeah, and I love that. Like, it really helps for the team to focus on the work that matters the most.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Kerry, and it has been a pleasure speaking to you. And thank you so much, everyone on the audience, for joining us. Please do come and grab an ice cream at our cabana. We're on the corner of Brick Lane Beach. And also, we're running demos on the hour, so if you want to learn more how Asana can help you and your team to improve your productivity and efficiency, please come visit us. And yeah, that's it. Like, for now, I hope you guys really enjoyed the content and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you so much.
Thanks.